And if Cell had succeeded his tracker to perfection against Gohan, then the design of the universe would have taken a very different direction. It is therefore 27 years after his victory that he will be able to face Colossus as he draws in the multiverse. Get ready, we start straight into the story of Cell Ultimate. But before that, let's analyze. Are you going to destroy the entire Earth? It all starts with this legendary confrontation between Gohan and Cell. While Goku tries to encourage his son to let all his power unleash, this, unlike the original version, leaves little Saiyan no chance to send 100% of his strength. In this case, Mehameha takes the advantage and drama is created before the helpless eyes of Piccolo and the others. Gohan has been defeated, but the hope of saving Earth is not yet doomed since, as you will tell yourself, he is very tired. After using the maximum, Vegeta triggers an end of the flash and everyone follows despite their difference in level. All attacks arrive in the direction of Cell, but an instantaneous movement is enough to dodge the lot, taking advantage of this speed to kill Vegeta in his back, erasing the last hope in the process. For now, only the weakest are still present and the massacre continues. Piccolo can do nothing against the enemy and sees himself passing through it too. He then attempts a last Kenzen, but Cell does not even bother to dodge it, and instead sends it right into the torso of Tenshinhan. Is too much for Yamcha. He rushes without thinking but takes a burst of salt. Krillin, for his part, knows that he is now alone. A stride of Kikoa, this is what he tries as his last action. Cell evidently dodges the attack and does not kill the Earthman right away. He grabs him and takes him very high in the sky. As high as we get beyond the ozone layer, we are in space. Krillin, being a mere Earthling, suffocates in the void without being able to make any sound in his painful cry. So it's over with the Earth, that returns to the blue planet and finish the dirty work while having fun, since he recreates some junior salt to finish in beauty. So there. The victory of the one that his adventure will really begin, because here we are again years later. What can remain interesting to tell if she defeated all the Ad Warriors? Well, it may be if we are interested in the opening of the Multiverse Tournament 20 alternative universes that will have to face each other in a martial arts tournament. This is where it gets interesting since she lands in his plot. And we learn that he lives in Universe 17 and his neighbors who arrive at the tournament a few minutes later are Universe 18. A world that we know very well given that it is the original plot. And by the way, he says something interesting again to you. This is not for nothing, since the universe to its left is Universe 16. In this one everything is almost the same as in Universe 18, except that there is no Vegeta or Goku. But then why? Quite simply, since it is plants that are present in this different world, it has never spread face to face. In short, as you will have understood, each universe has changed its future in different ways, and it is the Salt course in this tournament that will interest us a little more. The first fights begin and finally comes the awaited moment, the first Salt duel. And he faces the Abra from Universe 11. The two characters seem very confident for this first fight, and it starts with an elbow shot directly well placed in the Salt skull. The Abra passes high and throws one of his demon balls. Saddle takes no scratch and riposts in turn with a good knee kick. Dabra goes on the defensive and bombs the insect several times, which Koa stopped by the hands of his opponent, even though the latter does not seem impressed. Cell confessed that this is surely the most powerful being he has ever faced. But in the stands, everyone hears this talk of Saddle and plans of the Universe 16 understands very quickly that she lies, since in 27 years it has necessarily taken the level, but yet Cohen finds that the forces of the two fighters are quite similar. Finally, good Lee continues and Dabra proves that he is not used to training or fighting. He gets exhausted very quickly in these useless shots, only takes advantage of his experience to send out a wave of deadly rays that Dabra exquisite easily. But this predictable attack was actually a way for her to prepare for a sunbite. But Dabra too was preparing a staged coup to land on Cell's back, causing his sword to appear from the demon realm and eventually slicing off half of the insect's torso. Dabra thinks he has won, but that's when our good old Seal turns around and releases the sword. He is still convinced that he has won given the state in which his opponent is, but he surprises him with the instantaneous regeneration of his body. Dabra, shocked, sees in addition his opponent prepare a Mekenko, his skin that manages to touch his target, piercing his body. And by the way, Goku and Raditz of Universe 13 react to this reaction. A rather funny and ironic reference when we know the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. At that point it is obvious that Dabra no longer has a chance, unless he sends his most vicious technique. A spit that also touches its target and begins its phase where the body begins to become a piece of stone. Dabra just has to wait to win this duel. Is this the end of it? Well, not really, since he smiles to make it clear that he has a plan, but this one literally rips his head off and throws it at the queen. Dabra initially contemplates suicide, But the Salt Smirk says a lot and regenerates instantly. His body, the demon, understands this very quickly. He has just lost this duel, his hemorrhage continues and he faints. Piccolo nevertheless notes that he seems a little weak compared to the one they faced in their universe. Cell hears Piccolo's words and seems relieved that some people think he was actually at 100% of his strength. Indeed, Cell deliberately concealed his true power to better surprise them in the future of the tournament. And voila! The next fight is several dozen chapters later, that of Universe 17 against Bojack from Universe 6, but just before an interaction between Cell and Gohan, he asks his nemesis if Bojack should be killed in a somewhat special way in the style Gohan wishes. Then I will surely lose you, and that is why I will clarify things. Bojack's first fight was against Pan from Universe 16. She was killed by Bojack in the fight. Because yes, you have the right to murder your opponent on the field, since everyone will be resurrected at the end of the Multiverse Tournament. Gohan prefers not to talk about revenge and doesn't seem interested in what Cell has to offer. In short, the two return on the Queen and the fight begins. Cell seems happy to see very powerful warriors in this tournament since he missed it deeply in his universe. He increases his aura much more than during his fight against Dabra. This time Goku and Vegeta notices that he has become much stronger. Bojack is nervous, attacks his opponent immediately, Cell dodges the attack and reappears behind him. He then follows up with a short-range Kikoa, leaving a smoke to manifest, but especially show that Cell took no damage. Bojack loses his composure and punches him. The speed is so low that it snickers, really showing what a powerful, fast punch is all about. This immediately makes Bojack react, who tries a blow, more stuffed his energy link, which will not only block the movements of his opponent, but also cut him into several pieces. Unless Cell doesn't give him time to act completely, since he sends a beam through his eyes that propels his opponent out of the Queen, who otherwise lands straight in the plot. Universe 16 in front of Guan, but despite all the rage he has towards his daughter's killer, he does not attack as it would eliminate his universe. Brass wants to do it, but Vegetables prevents him. This does not mean that he will not suffer that arrived from heaven and finishes his opponent with a single shot very well placed. Bojack is instantly defeated with a swift saddle strike. Voila! After many fights comes the turn of the third round of Schelle. He is called to the ring facing Tapion of Universe 3, but not completely, since this Tapion masters to perfection. He freaks out. He then makes him appear before entering the ring and wraps himself in his body. The fight will therefore be that vs Hildegard Tapion, who does not control the body at all. Cell begins by dodging the first blows of the giant monster. He throws the first shot, but without success. He then continues with several Kanzan, but the Coloss changes very easily into smoke. He then uses his tail and an acid attack through his mouth. Cell cannot parry everything and takes the attack quite damaged by it, at least according to him, no worries to be. It prefers to pass the Grand V speed and increases its size thanks to the Piccolo cells. He strikes, knocking down the beast, and while Vegetables spurts out on the salt fight in the background, in the stands, something is plotted. It is not nothing, since we will return to it later. Let's finish this game first. Cell has difficulty touching his opponent due to manipulations with smoke. He understands very quickly that he cannot attack him in the classic way. He manages to catch him by the throat. But the monster turns into smoke again. But this is where the Cell strategy makes all the difference. He practices a technique that literally sucks the body of his enemy. It swells, referring to its second form, capable of doing the same thing, ready to explode. Until Hildegans got himself out of the saddle body, but the monster therefore no longer pays attention to his enemy, who takes advantage of this to literally cut him in two. Tapion's remains on the ground. The countdown is launched and arrives at 10 saddle victories. He returns to his plot filled with the blood of the beast. He returns to his home to wash, but something begrudgingly strikes his mind. What's going on? And so it is now that we enter the Magin Babidi arc, all this time secretly preparing a plan to add his Mark of Magin in all fighters who possesses from the N to E. Everyone is then preceded by it, and therefore in all his antagonists. There is obviously the case of the Ultimate One, who appears with the mark on her forehead behind adult Gohan from Universe 16. These junior saddles also surround those of Universe 18. A war begins between everyone, but this is the case of the one that interests us here. Only the juniors are beaten quite easily by Gohan 18, but that of the 16th universe is blocked by that one, because if he tries to do anything, Videl will lose his life. However, his wife tells him to fight. If she dies, it doesn't matter since she can be resurrected, but Gohan refuses this option. He has already lost his daughter. The other Gohan understands very well what situation he is in. He thinks the same thing. The one of 18 then sends a Quikoa on the location of Zella. The one of 16 protects his wife and the attack repels. Saddle. This time, a fight between the two will really be able to begin. He finds his sleeves and a battle is fought. What is surprising is the ultimate saddle level that manages to resist well against Gohan. Nevertheless, Cell acknowledges that the Saiyan's power has greatly increased. He then throws a Mekenko Sappo that hits Gohan. However, he was stopped by his hand, which is now ineffective. But no luck for the one who takes a huge right from the Saiyan, chaining him over with a very well executed elbow. But Gwen's intuition makes him leave this fight because his wife is being attacked by the Nappa of Universe 13. Cell tries to keep the game with the Saiyan, but a fighter from Universe 19 intervenes. He has to change his opponent. But the warriors of Universe 19 are very powerful towards their technology pushed to the maximum. He then succeeded in cutting the body of Salt into several pieces. But as he has already shown several times, Cell Ultimate can regenerate at a monstrous speed. So here it is back in its entirety a few minutes later. We can see the difference in level. One fighter in his right hand completely KO and the other only has 0.2% of energy left to finish it correctly. He absorbs his vital energy. Then he throws them away, but strangely notices that his skin is still filled with weird blood. Finally, let's move on. Once won, he contacts Babidi and announces the next target, the two Piccolos, and once killed, there will be more than two left. This one appears immediately in a sharp fight. Instantly, Piccolo Gohan takes the info a little too late and once arrived on the battlefield. His wife is dead on the ground accompanied by two Piccolos. Where is her second life? You are in the hand of Salt. Cell had no choice but to bring Gohan back into the fight. The multiple murders awaken Gohan's rage and all that was dormant within him and instantly destroys Cell's body. Well, not totally. And if Cell reveals to us that he's been having for all these years. Train your core to strengthen itself against different attacks. He returns several minutes later, without Guan knowing it. Only Arm sees the return of the saddle with his own eyes. But he tells us his true motives. He blew up a cable in Gohan, not just to piss him off, but to unleash all his power to defeat Sun Bra. As she confronts literally everyone, Piccolo launches her special, a distorted Mekenko Sappo attack that doesn't even scare her since it creates a shield that makes her immune to attacks. Unless a Sappo Mchenko in the lot ends up touching her and cutting off her arm in the process, it's none other than Cell's that has joined the battlefield. Majimbra is thrilled to finally face the true power of Cell Ultimate. She takes his arm and fixes it again. She teleports in front of him and beats him, then seems to be preparing a technique that will completely pulverize Salt's body. Gohan intervenes, but Majimbra triggers the attack, which literally creates a nuclear wave in the area. Everybody takes it in full force. She took revenge, blaming Gohan for not having respected the rules since she literally redid the rules of the tournament. After benefiting from Babidi's power, she punches Gohan and instantly teleports into space. She looks at him one last time and says goodbye. As for that one,
he's trying to attack the element.
Central to this carnage, trying to kill Babidi, locked in a super ball of protection. But Maginbra soon returns and protects the old wizard. Meanwhile, Gohan actually had a mini junior in his hair. He has the same powers as his father, but less powerful. He can still teleport. He uses it with Gohan. Once facing Magbra, he sticks a space potato to him. He considered teleporting into Babidi's bubble to end the war, but kept his distance. Two warriors from Universe 19, armed with advanced technology, use piercing rays to penetrate Babidi's lair. Magnabra aids Babidi in dodging while chaos ensues. Notice, however, the focus shifts to the two others, set as targets for destruction. This was a decoy. While he was absorbing the young woman earlier, it was actually a way for him to communicate with her without Baby Dai being able to listen to their conversation. In reality, all this was a plan in which she explained that he had escaped Babidi's control and that he was pretending to be on his side, but admits that he is indeed on the other side. Magimbra understands then that since the beginning of this war was creating allies little by little, all this to fight against her. And Baby says a beautiful board then shows us the alliance against Magimbra, but all of a sudden she teleports with her master or, well, into space. Here, Baby D will inevitably be protected from any attack. The downside is that it can barely survive 10 minutes in space. Magimbra will have to do very quickly, so she returns to the spot and Guan attacks immediately. She also adds her share of the cake. Bruce grabs her neck and makes an interesting reflection. He adapts very quickly to his opponents. However, she continues while teleporting from left to right, but this one warns that he has now very quickly understood her fighting style. But no luck for him. She too, being a Saiyan, progresses during the clashes worthy of the name and smashes the belly of her opponent. The warrior of Universe 19 attempts dishes, a very bad idea on his part since Brass teleports behind him, breaking the back of his neck and by definition his death. Brown is only at the beginning of his carnage by then killing the Gohan of Universe 16, chaining on one of the two Piccolos. The drama continues, but in the meantime, in the air, Majin Brown does not pay attention to the little Salt Jr. who is about to give meaning due to his father. Here he is at Tusemedis, but who makes his appearance. Surprised, she atomizes the saddle body in a single attack. Knowing full well that she can still regenerate thanks to the strengthening of her nucleus, she therefore starts looking for it and finds it quite easily, reducing for the first time in this whole story the existence of ultimate cells. And yet, it's not over yet. For this quarterfinal, we will witness the fight between Cell and Vegeta from Universe 18. Gohan directly warns the Prince of Science. This salt is minimum at his level, maybe even more. Vegeta has nothing to do with it and goes into the ring. The fight starts directly and she tries to instantly kill her enemy before he goes to Super Saiyan 2. Vegeta transforms to a few thousandths of second, ready to comfortably dodge his surprise attack. Cutting his opponent in 4, he reconstitutes himself without too much trouble in several identities. Here are 4 salts to confront you. Vegeta rises in the sky and very quickly succeeds in eliminating one. The other 3 played from a distance, but Vegeta replies in the same way. Alas, the power of Cell is enough to repel more and more the attack of the Saiyan. He flies into the air and the attack of that one then becomes a surge head. He retreats, but his opponent tries as best he can to trap him. But Vegeta's ingenuity finally pays off. He throws himself into an explosion. Once in the smoke, he redirects the attacks he had created. In reality, she did not control them. It was a setup by Vegeta. Attacks hit their enemy, and which means that 2 of these clones are HS. Only the original remains but not defeated. He makes the decision to use a gigantic barrier that disintegrates the ring. Vegeta is still in the race, nothing prohibits leaving the ring. He succeeded thanks to the instant shift that he had learned without letting his friend know. He teleports back and a chain of enormous power is triggered between the two, but only takes off and sends the prince back into the ground. However, he knows very well that he is hiding the next level, the Super Saiyan 3. Vegeta explains that it doesn't interest him because this form consumes too much energy. He takes one magic bean and gives another to the one doing exactly. Same mistake as in the past, with many. Except I lied, he catches the bean well. But Vegeta takes advantage of this slight confidence to activate his Super Saiyan 3 and wrinkle the salt body. Surprise bonus, he managed to catch his core firmly and annihilate it with his overpowered wife. Victory of Vegeta. So this is the end of the journey for Universe 17. But again, not totally, because yes, the tournament will indeed conclude with 2 other characters in the final that I will not spoil you here. But after that Multiverse Tournament ended, everyone thought it was the end of the manga. But in a twist, while everyone has resurrected as promised, ready to be sent back all in all to their original universe, a catastrophic arc was about to happen and she seems to be back, more determined than ever for a continuation of her story. In any case, he showed us that he had not only progressed in brute strength, but also and above all in one, and that is why he managed to climb so far in this tournament of the multiverse.